It's Monday, which means another Mock Draft Monday here on the channel, and boy, does it feel good to say that again. Except it does feel kind of bad in a way because it means my team is absolutely garbage. It's September 22nd and the season is over. The Giants are a complete disaster. Who could have seen that coming? Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about the Giants right now, but what I will talk about is how it's good to be back for Mock Draft Monday. Not going to do these every week, and the draft order via the PFF Mock Draft Simulator is not exactly what it is based on record right now, but when that draft order actually ends up mattering, it's going to be updated, and it's not just factoring in Super Bowl odds. It'll be just based off current record and actual current draft position. But it's September. The order doesn't matter as much right now. We've seen 3 games for each of these teams, right? So let's kick things off with the first overall pick. It's about potential. This is a mock draft, and this video is sponsored by Underdog, the best place to play daily fantasy sports. I'll tell you what, I'm in a good position right now. I've got some killer entries going into Monday Night Football. I need Zay Flowers to show up for me, and it could be a huge, huge day. Been doing pretty well so far. Underdog is a great place to play. Maybe take Zay Flowers tonight. You can use code BENGAL on Underdog. You can get this free pick for Lamar Jackson to go higher than 0 passing plus rushing yards. So if Lamar plays, it is a free pick for Lamar Jackson. He's starting tonight for the Ravens. Use code BENGAL on Underdog. Link is in the description. You can play in so many different states, including Arizona, California, Florida, Virginia, Illinois, Vermont, New Hampshire. Remember to play responsibly. And remember to use code BENGAL on Underdog. Link is down in the description. Let me know what you're running tonight. Tweet at me, at Bengal YouTube. Again, Zay Flowers, I feel pretty good about. We're in a pretty good spot there. But, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs is always inclined to have quite a nice game, at least in terms of total yards. The Ravens' defense is tough, but Jahmyr Gibbs is quite a player, so might consider throwing an entry together with him on it. Tweet at me, at Bengal YouTube, what you think is going to be the way to go for tonight. Hopefully, Zay Flowers is in store for a huge game. That would be very, very, very good for me. And it'd be great for me if you would use code BENGAL on Underdog. And thank you to today's video sponsor, Underdog. Drafting, and especially mock drafting so far out, it's about potential. Who has a chance to go in the first round? Not who's a solid player that will be drafted, but will they be drafted that high? We'll see what happens. So I'll talk about players more as they come up. But with the first pick, we've got the Cleveland Browns. I'm going with quarterback Fernando Mendoza, friend of the channel. As we've talked about before, we know he's smart for that reason alone, just like you guys. But Fernando Mendoza, let me get this out of the way because I know I'm going to see it already. I saw it in the last mock draft. If the Browns drafted 2 quarterbacks, why would they draft another one? It's like there's a huge difference between the #1 overall pick in the draft and taking Dillon Gabriel in the 90s and then Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. They're not expected to be the franchise savior the way, unfortunately, Fernando Mendoza would be for Cleveland. That's what being drafted at #1 overall means, and Mendoza's got the goods. He's got the prototypical size, 6'5", close to 230 pounds. He's got a very good arm. He's very, very accurate. And he's also capable of improvising and extending plays and making plays that way. Now, Indiana absolutely boat raced Illinois, who is a top 10 team in the country, but we know Illinois is not exactly a powerhouse. There are going to be bigger tests for Mendoza across the course of the year, and we will have to adjust accordingly. It is early right now, but as I hyped up Fernando Mendoza in the offseason, it was really brought to my attention by Corey Kinnan, another friend of the channel, really a great NFL draft content creator. Checked out Mendoza and found out he was a fan of the channel, which is awesome, but found out he was a legitimate quarterback prospect who really, really flashed, really popped on tape at Cal. And speaking of Cal, they've got a quarterback right now who looks incredible. Jaron Kiave-Sungapola-Tele looks unreal. Lefty freshman quarterback. Indiana got Mendoza from Cal. Cal got JKS from Oregon in the portal. Very interesting situation, but yeah, it seems to be working out for both parties. And speaking of Oregon, I think it's working out for them as well. They got a quarterback in the portal from UCLA. That was Dante Moore. And I'll tell you again, things will change over the course of the season, but so far, Dante Moore looks incredible. Yes, level of competition has not been great, but at quarterback, I'm really worried about your decision making and the caliber of throw you're able to make and the consistency in which you're able to do so. His accuracy has been great for the most part. He's made some real NFL caliber throws. He's got decent overall athleticism and a really, really good arm. And yes, if the Saints are picking at number 2 overall in quarterback range, I think they could consider their quarterback of the future. And here it's going to be Dante Moore for me today. I want to take this opportunity to talk about Garrett Nussmeier, who I like. He's clearly a very smart quarterback, a leader, someone that is experienced, however, and has a connection to the Saints. His dad is the OC, so there's a connection there. But there are some things where you look at Garrett Nussmeier and you say, okay, well, he did not perform all that well in big games last year, and he's undersized, and he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, and he's not the best improviser. And when you look at the combination of, okay, is not playing that great, not the best tools, where does a guy like Garrett Nussmeier go? And it's tougher to slot him at the top, the very top of the first round. So I'm opting to go more with the guys with higher potential. Even though Garrett Nussmeier could end up being the best quarterback of the bunch, we kind of see how the NFL values these guys. And there's a reason that an Anthony Richardson goes ahead of a Kenny Pickett. I know not the same draft class, obviously, but, you know, that's how the NFL views things and drafts things. And maybe they shouldn't as much at quarterback because it's less so about physical tools at QB and more about what's going on upstairs. But at the same time, these physical abilities, these traits, these tools are incredibly valuable, the ones that you can't teach. And that's why I think a guy like Lenore Sellers could go higher than Garrett Nussmeier because the tools are so much better. And you talk about that with Drew Aller as well, and Sam Levitt, even Arch Manning, of course. Cade Klubnik has also not played very well this year. It's tough to get these guys in the first round, but we'll talk about that more later. We got the Giants at 3, and I really thought about this for a while because the Giants' O-line is not good. It really isn't. But when Andrew Thomas is healthy, as rare as that is, he is an elite left tackle. And Jermaine Illuminor has done a fine job at right tackle. And even so, without Illuminor, you have Marcus Bowe, who filled in for Andrew Thomas and has been quite good this year in a very small sample, albeit. But I don't know that tackle is the biggest need in the world for the Giants. You definitely need a center. You could use an upgrade at guard for sure, and you could consider tackle, no question. But I think you could also consider upgrading your defense and really playing into that strength. Their pass rush is so good. The linebackers, when healthy, are pretty good. The cornerbacks really are not. And the safeties are whatever. Javon Holland, we'll have to see if he can get back to his Pro Bowl type of form. But Tyler Nubin is not that good. Caleb Downs is great. He is an elite safety prospect. And again, it's with positional value thing. Where do you take a safety in this draft? And it's really tough to say, okay, how about the top 3? But the best defensive player in college football this year has probably been Caleb Downs. If it hasn't been him, it's been Reuben Bain. You look at the Giants, they're not taking Reuben Bain. They have Brian Burns, who is an elite player. Kayvon Thibodeau's taking that next step and will be a free agent. We'll see what happens there. And you just drafted Abdul Carter. I don't think there's any room for an edge rusher at number 3 given the state of this team. So you just go with the best player available, and that happens to be Caleb Downs. He's an incredible talent. It might be worth taking a safety at 3 when he's as good as he is. It's tough to rationalize that position that high, but given the board, given the Giants' needs, it's either offensive line, which is clearly a need, but tackle is really what goes in the top 3, or just the best player there, which is Caleb Downs. So I'm opting for Caleb Downs today. I'm sure next time it could be an offensive lineman, but you know, I could see a scenario where the Giants kick Bowe to guard and then draft a tackle. That's a possibility. We'll see what happens. It's a long way between now and April. Maybe we're not even excited about Marcus Bowe in April, which I hope we are, because that means he's played well. And I don't know if that's going to be at guard or tackle. I don't know if he's going to be just a swing tackle or potentially will start at guard, or even maybe the Giants try him out at center. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. At number 4, I have the New York Jets. I'm going Lenore Sellers. Sellers is good. He's not Anthony Richardson, although I could see why people would draw that comparison. He's big, he's strong, he's incredibly athletic, but I think he does some things better than Anthony Richardson does. He's not just a fastball all the time type of quarterback, the way Anthony Richardson, Joe Milton, these guys don't have the ability to put any touch on the ball. It's as hard as they can every time, and that's not always great. And Lenore Sellers is not just that guy. He's got probably the best sack avoidance of any prospect I've ever studied. And that sounds insane, but I watched him last year in preparation for this year, or in the summer, I should say. And he's already, when healthy, got knocked out of week 3, but came back week 4, played well against Mizzou at times. He's a young quarterback. There will be some growing pains. None of these players, especially not quarterbacks, are finished products. They've got a long way to go, and Sellers is not a finished product, but the tools are there. These are the type of players that get drafted high. I am confident in saying Lenore Sellers is, at minimum, Justin Fields right now. And I know that doesn't sound great, but this is a college quarterback, right? That's just become draft eligible. He's Justin Fields' floor right now and could obviously evolve into much more than that. And that's what you're hoping for if you're a Jets fan. At number 5, have the Tennessee Titans. I'm going Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami. He's looked incredible so far this year. He flashed in that primetime game at the start of the year, and you go, okay, Ruben Bain might be putting it all together, and then he keeps doing it and keeps doing it and keeps doing it. I know it's early. It's only week 4 of college football, but he's been incredible. And it's not like, okay, this is some random guy that came out of nowhere. This was a highly, highly, highly thought of recruit and prospect and player that's now really, playing up to that status. He's been awesome. The Titans really need to upgrade that pass rush. They've got a number of needs, but I think Bain is just the best player right here. And I went into the year having Peter Woods as my number 1. I go, he is unbelievable. This year, he hasn't been unbelievable. Or it's maybe been unbelievable how not amazing he's been. And Clemson's got a lot more problems than just Peter Woods. TJ Parker has not played especially well. Their defense in general has been awful. Their offense can't capitalize either. Clemson is really bad right now. Are they still going to churn out 2 or 3 first-round picks this year? I think absolutely. I think if they declare Woods and Parker are still going to end up being first-rounders. Woods especially so. Parker maybe a little bit farther down the board. And then you talk about Avion Terrell in that range as well. I do think Jermod McCoy is probably going to be the first corner off the board, but Tennessee's got another good one. Hood's played incredibly well. McCoy has not played this year due to injury, but he was so good last year. I think right now he is the front runner for cornerback 1, and we'll see if that ends up staying true over the course of the season. There are some good ones. I'm going to get Will Lee off the board in this mock draft as well. But you got some corners who are kind of fighting to be in this first round. D'Angelo Pons has played great. Pons is small, right? But he's a dog. If he was 6 foot 190, he's a first round pick. He's not, though. So people are asking about D'Angelo Pons. This is not a first round player. And he can end up being worth a first round pick. He could play at an amazing level, but we know what the NFL thinks of guys that are 5'9", 170. He is undersized, and he is a nickel corner. This is not going to be a guy that is probably going to be allowed to play on the outside, but he is a really good player. He's just probably not going to be a first-round pick just based on the size. Like, you're not seeing... Like, Poona Ford was never going to be a first-round pick because he's 5'11", right? Like, teams value measurables. They take that high. Pons is not that guy. Christian Gray at times has looked amazing, and then at times has looked terrible. I don't really know what to do with him. He also is not the best corner in his team. When healthy, they've got an unbelievable talent. Leonard Moore at corner is an incredible player. Not draft eligible. The same way Jeremiah Smith is not draft eligible. The same way Cam Coleman is not draft eligible. The same way, I don't know where he would go right now, but DJ Lagway is not draft eligible, right? Takes these guys a few years. You got to be 3 years removed from high school. So redshirt sophomores and true juniors are eligible. True sophomores like Jeremiah Smith, like Cam Coleman, are not. Like Ryan Williams, are not. Panthers at number 6. I'm going Keldrick Falk. I mean, the last time the Panthers took a defensive lineman out of Auburn, it worked out fairly well. Derek Brown's a really good player, and Keldrick Falk is kind of like an inside-outside type of guy. The way like Derek Brown was really like a 0, 1, or 3 tech, Falk is really like a 3 to 5 tech. I mean, he could maybe even go a bit wider than that, but he's like 290 pounds. He's a really good player, and I think could be in this top 10 type of range. I think that the Panthers need to try and continue to upgrade their defense, and I think Keldrick Falk helps you do that. Dolphins at 7. Man, this team stinks. They really, really do. Peter Woods could help them. Very different interior defensive lineman to the one that they grabbed last year. Woods is a true, like, penetrating force. He's a monster pass rusher. Now, Kenneth Grant can provide some pass rush upside, but he's really more of a space eater, dominate the point of attack, dominate the line of scrimmage, the way Woods, like, can be good against the run, but he's an especially good pass rusher, and I think he's a top 10 caliber of player very easily, and we could be even talking about him as a top 2 or 3 pick in this draft if he turns it on over the course of this year. We've got, what, a quarter of the season done, but a lot of time left, especially if he has a good college football playoff, if Clemson somehow manages to get in there, although it's looking extremely bleak right now. They are basically eliminated from that talk, but who knows? You get into the ACC championship somehow, maybe something happens. Right now, it's looking like Clemson's going to need a lot to go their way. Their season might be over, but Peter Woods can still flash and still become quite a high pick. At number 8, have the Raiders. Their O-line is atrocious. Spencer Fano might help that out. It's a really good offensive tackle class, and I'm going to be really intrigued to see the order of these guys, because you have the best duo in college football in Fano and Lomu, and then you have a number of guys that I could see being first-round picks. Trevor Gooseby, Xavier Chaplin. Still, Austin Barber's got a chance. Florida's a bit of a mess right now. Isaiah World still could. Jennings Dunker is a really nice player. And Iowa's got a couple of them as well. Caden Proctor, Francis Mauinoa, of course. And then you look at the interior offensive line, and there's a lot to like here as well. But of guys that are actually going to go first round, I don't know. Connor Liu probably could be, but we'll see. I think Fano's quite a nice player. I think you're going to find a place for him with this Utah offensive line, or with this Las Vegas Raiders offensive line from Utah. Fano, I think, can play left tackle or right tackle. Of course, you're hoping Colton Miller's there long-term, provided he stays healthy and you don't trade him, stays under contract, all these different things. But Fano is a really nice player. Could end up even playing guard as well, but I think you're looking at him at right tackle most probably. Bears at number 9. Jeremiah Love. I think he's a perfect fit for Ben Johnson's offense. I think you continue to build into this offense. Jeremiah Love's an interesting player. I like him. He's a great athlete. Great athlete. Incredible speed. Incredible playmaking ability. Some of what he does, I think, is college football type of runner. I'm not phrasing that well. Basically what I'm trying to say is I want him to play a little bit more under control at times. Stop leaving your feet so much. Don't try to bounce things out as often. A lot of what running back is staying north-south and taking 4 yards when 4 yards is there. It's awesome to have a home run hitting running back. It's awesome. But there's got to be balance there. And I don't think we really saw Saquon Barkley unlock his full potential until he started taking what was there instead of trying to bounce everything outside. And that's fun, and it results in big plays, but it also results in some bad plays. And I want Jeremiah Love to use his speed, use his elusiveness in the open field, and not think he has to hurdle everybody or jump into the air all the time. But he's a great player, and I think it would be a really, really good fit here with Chicago and Ben Johnson at number 9. At number 10, have the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to go TJ Parker here. This was kind of a tough team to mock for. I think they may end up being a lot further down than this. It's going to be, why are the Colts at 10? It's just based off Super Bowl odds in this PFF mock draft order. The Colts could end up being way lower than this because they are the clear front runner to win the AFC South right now. I know the Jags have a decent record, but they have not looked good. Even at 2-1, they have not looked good. The Colts have looked incredible. Daniel Jones has looked incredible. I don't know where it's coming from. Yes, situation matters, but this was a guy who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn his entire career with the Giants, and now he's climbing the pocket and making throws. I don't know what's happening. But congrats to Daniel Jones. I don't hate the player. I hated the pick at the time for the Giants, but it seems like now 6 or 7 years into his NFL career, he's really taking a step up in a new environment, new scenario. But ended up settling on TJ Parker because his potential is fantastic. Hasn't played great this year, but I think the Colts could use an upgrade on the edge. I like Leatu Latu. I understand bringing in JT Tuimoloau, but Parker's got better upside than Tuimoloau for sure. And you're going to be losing what has been kind of a disappointing first-round pick in the Michigan man, Kwity Paye. Browns at 11. It is their second pick of the draft, of course, taking Mendoza at number 1. I've got the Browns going with Caden Proctor. I think they need to upgrade that offensive line, and getting a presumably left tackle of the future in Caden Proctor is not a bad idea. At number 12, have the Rams via the Atlanta Falcons, and the Rams, I don't feel great about this one, but I'm going Drew Aller. This is another one where it's like the potential is here. If he could put it all together over the course of a season, he's going to get drafted higher than maybe he even should. He's 6'5", 235 pounds. He's got a big time arm, and you're worried a little bit about the decision making. The mobility is not incredible, and the accuracy at times can be a bit spotty, but I think team him up with Sean McVay, you may have something there. And you're not going to find a perfect quarterback prospect at number 12, so maybe you opt to go a different player or position here. But Matthew Stafford's not going to play forever. At some point, you do need to consider his replacement. And drafting Drew Aller, not having to play him right away, could be a good fit for all parties involved. Cowboys at 13. It's the worst defense I've ever seen. I want to give them a receiver anyway because I think Jordan Tyson's a great fit here. But I am going to help them out on defense. I'm going Arvell Reese. Now, Arvell Reese is an interesting one because he's not a guaranteed first-round pick, and I'm going to give him here to the Cowboys at 13. Reese, though, is 6'4", 245 or so, maybe even a little bit less than that, and can really, really move. I'm not saying Micah Parsons, but I'm saying there are some... There's some parallels there with the build and the play style and the potential. Arvell Reese is not Micah Parsons, but I think maybe you see someone with, at best case scenario, a similar skill set. And I think the Cowboys might become infatuated with trying to replace Micah. You know, Jerry Jones, I think, could be in a situation of like, yeah, we traded Michael Parsons, but we drafted his replacement, and they do damn near the same thing. Whatever he would say. I'm not quite in there. I had a better impression in a video the other day. I'll figure it out. I'll work on it. But Arvell Reese has really flashed early in the season for Ohio State. I think we could be talking about him as a first-round pick by the time April comes around, or even earlier than that. We'll see. Patriots at 14. I'm going to go Jordan Tyson. I don't know that he's going to be a top 10 player off the board, but I think if he was available here for the Patriots, they should absolutely pull the trigger. He is arguably the best receiver in this class. He's just one of those guys where you watch him play and you go, okay, he's different. Jordan Tyson's just different. Now, I'm not sure if that means he's going to end up being a top 5 or top 10 pick, but he's going to be a first-round player. He's got great hands. He can separate. He's got enough speed. Jordan Tyson is just a playmaker, plain and simple. As we get to the Seahawks at number 15, Patriots need more weapons. I'm going to go back-to-back receivers, keeping them in state. Denzel Boston. The Seahawks need more receiving talent. Now, obviously, Jackson Smith-Njigba's a great player, and I like Torrey Horton. But I'd like for them to have a little bit more there, and Denzel Boston gives you the size that you're missing at 6'4", 210. He can really go up and get it. Chain mover, threat in the red zone, like Denzel Boston a lot as a player. And Seattle is able to keep him in state here, and I think that would be a really, really nice fit. Steelers at 16. I'm going to go with a quarterback because I don't know who would be playing it next year. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. That seems a little unlikely, but it's a possibility, I suppose. Will Howard, I don't know if I love that for the Steelers. I'm going to go John Mateer. People keep wanting me to talk about him, and there are things to like, no question. He doesn't have the best size of all time, but this is like a maybe even slightly bigger than Baker Mayfield type of build. And Mateer's got maybe a similar type of play style in a way, and that's not just drawing the Oklahoma parallel, because obviously different play callers. Lincoln Riley's not walking through that door for Oklahoma, but Mateer's made some big-time plays. He does have kind of that dog factor. He's got a decent arm. Could be a guy that ends up going in the first round, or at least within the first couple of days. I think he's, at worst, probably a second or third round pick right now, and he's played really, really well so far this year. And that's not to say that he's been perfect, and I think if Auburn has any semblance of quarterback play at all, because former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold absolutely sucks, I think Auburn wins that game. You got Cam Coleman. He is a joke of a player at wide receiver for the Auburn Tigers, and you just can't even give him a chance consistently. It's disgusting. Now, back to Mateer. He's played great this year. Oklahoma's having a good season. You know, I think they're a top 10 team or knocking on the door of being a top 10 team. I got to check the AP poll, but again, it's early. Doesn't really matter so much right now. I think he's at least in the conversation, but I don't want every mock draft to just be quarterback, 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 quarterback. This is already the 5th QB off the board. It's so many, but it's a quarterback-driven league, and we're seeing more and more get drafted every single year. John Mateer is my 5th in the first half of this first round mock. At number 17, have the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going, who I talked about earlier, Jermod McCoy. He's been hurt, hasn't played, but he played great last year. I think the Vikings could potentially use an upgrade at corner. Jermod McCoy could be a good fit in that Brian Flores defense. Cardinals at 18. Going offensive line. Now, I'll tell you another thing. This is kind of an uncomfortable conversation for Cardinals fans and their team in general, but at what point do we look at quarterback? Now, Murray's under contract, so maybe it's not this year, but at what point is he not the guy to get you over the hump? I don't know. Marvin Harrison Jr. also. It's weird. He doesn't really look that good, but then he was wide open a couple of times on Sunday. Wide open. Dropped one of them. It was one of the worst drops I've ever seen. It honestly is forgivable, though, because sometimes you just look up the field early. Like, it's a mistake. And not to put myself in the same conversation as Marvin Harrison Jr., but when I played wide receiver, I don't think it ever happened in a game, but in practice, sometimes you do think the ball's already there, and you start to turn upfield to see what you're doing, and you just don't catch it. And that happens, right? I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. has bad hands because he made a mental error, which is what that drop was. But he has not looked great, and you need more help at receiver. You need potentially help at quarterback. You just lost James Conner potentially for the year, and your offensive line's not great. The Cardinals are in a weird spot in what otherwise seems to be a very winnable NFC West. Like, is there any team that's so good in the NFC West that they've got the division on lock? The Rams are good, but not that good. The Seahawks, 49ers are fine. Like, the Cardinals, in theory, should be right there. They just haven't been able to get over that hump. But I'm going to give them an offensive lineman to potentially help that out. Francis Mauigoa from Miami. Big body, potential starter at right tackle. Broncos at 19. I love the fit here. Remember how it was Colston Loveland a lot last year? Well, this might be the new Colston Loveland to the Broncos. Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. He is an awesome player. I love Kenyon Sadiq. He is a dog. He can block. He can catch. He can get open. He's got good speed. The size is not incredible for a tight end, but I don't care if you're 245 or 265 if you can block the way he does. I think he's going to be able to hold up in the run game. And I don't care if you're 6'5", if you can play above the rim the way Sadiq can. Really good player. I think he ends up being in the first round conversation, if not a first round pick for sure. We'll see. Texans at 20. Offensive line is atrocious. You traded Laramie Tunsil. I think you need to invest in more help on the O-line. And guard is a need, but so is tackle. And I'm going with Texas. Trevor Gooseby. Hook him. Goosby's a really good player. Really, really athletic. He stepped in and he's been awesome. He played last year and he was not really supposed to be ready, and he was awesome. think he could absolutely end up being a first-round pick in a very good tackle class. If you need help on the O-line, this is going to be a class that I think is a place where you can find starters down the board on the interior and find really good starters in the first and maybe even down the board at tackle. Chargers at 21 really struggled here, but in the end, it's Jim Harbaugh. I think they could invest in the trenches, and Connor Lew could be a starter at center. Guard's also a need, of course. I wish I could say tackle's not a need because it really shouldn't be, but Rashawn Slater is hurt a lot. And he signed a big-time extension. He's a great player. Joe Alt is already awesome. But you could potentially go out and get, somebody like, if he were available, Caleb Lomu or Spencer Fano, and have a guy that can play tackle or guard potentially. But Connor Lew, I think, is just a safe pick to say, hey, he's going to be our starting center. And that is the pick there for me. But guard is a need, and I think edge is a need. You got a lot of needs here for the Chargers, who are an otherwise very good team because they've got a really, really good quarterback, despite what people say. Commanders at 22. I think I've done this before, but I'm going Mateo Uiagalelei. I just think he's a really good fit here for this 4-3 defense under Dan Quinn. He's just like similar-ish, and I'm not just drawing it because of the, connection with the Polynesian community, but Mateo Uiagalelei and JT Tuimoloau, I think, are similar players. I think Mateo Uiagalelei is a better prospect for sure than JTT was, but I don't know that he's going to be a guy that ends up going top 10. I don't think he has that level of juice and pass rush ability, but the size is really good. He's a really, really solid player, and I think he'd end up being a first-round pick and just be a high-floor starter in the NFL. At number 23, have the Cincinnati Bengals. This is tough because their defense needs help, but so does their offense. Their offensive line needs to do a way better job of protecting Joe Burrow, who also, by the way, could do a better job of protecting himself. Somebody has to say it. Yes, the offensive line has let him down, and the organization, the front office, has let him down. But sometimes Joe Burrow is taking hits he does not need to take, and he's holding onto the ball in the pocket when he doesn't need to. And sometimes you just got to get rid of it and don't take the hit. But the O-line needs to be better. And I think with Caleb Lomu, you're going to find a spot for him, whether it be at guard or tackle. He will end up being a starter, and you're going to protect your most important investment, and that is QB1 Joe Burrow. At number 24, over the past couple of years, I've been addicted to mocking the Bucs, a linebacker to replace Levante David long-term, but there's also more next to him at linebacker that needs help as well. So linebacker makes more sense than ever. I'm going CJ Allen from Georgia. He's a great player, really good athlete, can hold up in coverage, can come down and tackle for sure. Sounds like a first-round pick at linebacker. As we get to the Niners at 25, O-line, absolutely a need, but guess what? There's a lot of needs on this team. They lost so much in free agency. With Dre Greenlaw, who never plays anymore because he's always hurt, unfortunately. He's so fun to watch when he's healthy, and they lose Talanoa Hufanga. Their offensive line needs so much help. How much longer does Christian McCaffrey have playing at a top level? You trade away Deebo Samuel, but Ricky Pearsall's a dog. How much longer is George Kittle going to be playing at a high level, and he's always going to miss a few games a year, unfortunately. The 49ers are not in the best position. They're a good team, and Nick Bosa has been hurt as well, so you lose a lot of talent off the edge. It's a tough time to be a 49ers fan, truly. But I think they've got overall a really good coaching staff. I know Kyle Shanahan does not always make the best decisions, but I think he's a great coach for the most part. And he went to a great college. Hook 'em horns. But I am going to go corner. I think corner is definitely a position of need, and Avion Terrell has the ability to play in the nickel, but also, despite being a little bit undersized, could play on the outside. I like their corners, but I think Terrell could come in and compete to be a starter. They've got a lot of needs. They've got some expiring contracts. I think Terrell is a decent fit here, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see them go safety if there was one available, which there's not really, or even wide receiver, certainly offensive line, defensive line, despite spending a couple of high-value picks on interior defensive linemen last year in TJ West, in Alfred Collins, Hookem. But Terrell makes sense to me, but you can make an argument for a lot with this 49ers team. Rams at 26, we've already spent a pick via Atlanta. Quarterback Drew Aller. Well, this is not going to be a quarterback. Or is it? Give me Nussmeier. No. Although I do think he's a decent fit with Sean McVay. I think a lot of quarterbacks are, but Nussmeier for different reasons than Aller. Although I am going to be going Anthony Hill. This defense is really fun. They've got so much speed. They fly around making plays. They've got a ton of different ways to get to the quarterback. And when you talk about Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner, and especially Jared Verse, but also Byron Young, they've got so much speed, so much youth, so much power. And then you go to linebacker, and you look at how effective some of these linebackers have been over the past couple of years getting to the quarterback. Anthony Hill is an elite blitzer who I think can hold up in coverage. He's a great athlete. Hook him. And I think it would be a really good fit for this Rams defense. But then, again, they could go offensive line here. I think they could consider a receiver. I think they could consider corner. I decided on Anthony Hill in the end as we get to the Cowboys for a second time. We have a lot of teams with multiple first-round picks in this draft. The Cowboys are another. This one via Green Bay, who could be a Super Bowl frontrunner. But, oh yeah, they just lost to the Browns? Bizarre. Weird game. Either way, I mean, honestly, I still can't even believe that happened. But we got the Cowboys at 27. Going Mansour Delane. Cornerback's a big need for this team. This defense is awful. Yes, their pass rush needs to be a lot better, and that's going to make everything else look better. But their secondary is a mess. Mansour Delane, the transfer from Virginia Tech, played very well this year, and I think could end up being a first-round pick. He's got probably good, not great speed, and good, not great size. But the tape's really good. He's competitive. He's feisty, and that's what you like from a corner. And we'll talk about one of those soon here in a minute as we get to the Chiefs. They need more playmakers. I think the offensive line could be better. I think their running game could be better. But are they going to spend a first-round pick on a running back here? Jonah Coleman's a really good player. Nick Singleton's a really good player. Justice Haynes is a really good player. Katron Allen, I know, has been a little bit more shifty compared to Singleton this year. But this is a really solid running back class. I love Mekhi Hughes. I love Jade Knott. I'd like to McCall. It's hard. I just can't change my mind now. CJ Baxter, when healthy, is good. I'd be surprised if he declared, to be honest. Trey Wisner's been hurt. Le'Veon Moss is not a bad player at all. And then you have a UTSA running back, not Amarion Peterson, that has been lighting the college football world on fire here early. But I don't know that you're going running back here. I think they need more help at receiver. You got a lot of aging talent all over the place. Maybe we're seeing a true Tyquan Thornton breakout. Maybe we're not. I don't know. But I'll tell you who's been awesome this year, and another guy that is just a playmaker, Makai Lemon from USC. He is a dog. This guy can go up and get it. He can separate. He can separate with the football even. He's great after the catch. He's a really, really awesome player. Another one of these guys, like Jordan Tyson, where you watch him play and you just go, oh, he's different. That's the best guy on the field. That's the difference maker. If that guy is on my team, I feel better about winning today. That's Makai Lemon. And to the Chiefs, fun weapon for Patrick Mahomes. I really think he's an awesome player. Can operate in the slot, can play out wide. I don't know if he's really an X, but I think he can be a Z. Lions at 29. Going David Bailey. He's kind of more of a designated type of pass rusher. A little bit undersized, but the production's been good. And I look at the Lions, and it's, interior O-line's a need. It's hard to get those guys in the first round at this point. But David Bailey can definitely get after the quarterback. And a lot of guys can in this class. It's a good edge class. You got a lot of undersized guys that are really solid players, like R. Mason Thomas, and I guess Cassius Howell goes into that conversation as well. And I'll tell you another thing. Joshua Josephs has played great this year. Another undersized guy that could end up being a first-round caliber pick. But I think for a lot of these guys, like your David Baileys, your R. Mason Thomas, Joshua Josephs, that type of player, a little bit undersized, are they going to be a three-down guy? They don't really start to get considered until the late teens, but probably more so into the second round. Think about the Cowboys this past year, taking Donovan Ezaraku out of Boston College. It's that type of a player. So you can impact the game as a pass rusher. Are you going to be a three-down player? And where is that value? It's easier for me to get a guy like Mateo Uiagalelei in the first round when I know he's got 3-down potential. Even if the pass rush potential is not as high as some of these other guys, it's easier to get LT Overton into the first round for the same reason, which I'm not today, but I wanted to talk about David Bailey. He's been productive. He's a good player. Can he add the needed weight to be a 3-down type of guy? It's definitely possible. We saw Brian Burns do it. Ravens at number 30. Going Will Lee. Their defense definitely needs help, and this is another one of these guys that's just a dog. He's feisty. He can be patient in coverage as well, which is an extremely valuable trait for a corner. You got to be able to mirror and match, and Will Lee has shown the ability to do that. But he's another one of these guys where you watch him play, he's talking trash. He's up in receivers' faces. He's tackling hard. He's hitting hard on every play. This is a guy who seems to love football, love competing, love the game, and I hate to hype up an Aggie like this, but he's a fun player to watch. And I think he fits that Ravens type of mentality, and he could definitely help out this secondary. Eagles at 31. Going Carnell Tate. He's not Jeremiah Smith, but he is good. I look at the Eagles here. They don't really have that many needs. Am I going to go to tight end here and get Max Clare into the first round? I'm not going to do that today. But I think they could consider a receiver, maybe like Jahan Dotson, but outside of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, there's not really a whole lot there. Carnell Tate maybe not worth a first-round pick if he's going to be a wide receiver 3, but I don't know that you need much off the edge right now. I don't know that you need much on the offensive line right now. I could see them taking a tackle to develop. I could see them getting another defensive lineman in the mix very easily. Christian Miller, Caleb Banks, Dominique Orange, all very, very good players I could see being first-round picks. And then off the edge, LT Overton screams Eagle as well, I will say that. But I think Carnell Tate is a really, really solid player. If the Eagles decide they want to go offense, I think he's not a bad idea. As we will go with the last pick of the first round here, the Buffalo Bills at 32. I'm going with Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State. He came in as a safety. He's a big body, just kept on growing, and he doesn't play safety anymore because he's huge. But he still has that defensive back type movement ability, which is rare to find of somebody of his size. Back-to-back Ohio State players. Will Sonny Styles end up going before Arvell Reese? It's highly possible. It's maybe even likely. But I wanted to talk about Arvell Reese today and his potential to impact the game. And I wanted to get Sonny Styles in the first round as well. Ohio State, as always, is going to have some pretty good players, and we'll see who ends up going in the first round. But that's going to do it for this mock draft, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.